Hello and welcome to Teching It Up with Mark. Today we are going to start a K2 workflow through a PowerShell script. So first, let's take a look at PowerShell. So I'm going to open this up in PowerShell ISC. I would prefer this to do this in Visual Studio Code because I think the tools are a little bit better now. But PowerShell ISE is normally available on the server, so that's why I'm going to choose to do it there. And let me first thing we need to do is reference a K2 DLL. And that will be the workflow client DLL. So we can find this within the K2 directory. We could search for it, but I'm just copying and pasting from what I have here. So this would be sourcecode.workflow.client. I think it's always version 4.0.000 and the same public key token. So let's just add that, run that line. Okay, no errors, that's good. The next thing I'm gonna need to do is create a workflow connection object. So I'll type this out. I'm going to call it connection or con, whatever. Then I'm going to go new object in PowerShell. The type name of source code. Yep, this one's not going to be so friendly for me. Client, I can copy this, paste here, and the class I want is connection. So I originally found this on the internet. Somebody blogged it before. But if you need to go, and I think this is in the API documentation itself, this client API that's available through C#. But you could also reflect these assemblies. I use ILSpy to do so. Let's see what we got here. Good, we have connection. Let's check out this connection object. Connection dot. I have stuff here. Lots of things. And the first thing we'll start with is just to prove that this is working, get processes. Get processes. So here, let's see. What I need to fill in, and I did this through ILSpy, looking at it, is just the process rights. So let's actually do this through ILSpy. So let's open my downloads. ILSpy is free. If you can get it on the server, it's pretty cool. You can do a lot with it. ILSpy.exe. I'm just going to run this as an administrator. Then I already found this workflow client DLL, but I'll just remove everything here. Let's see. How do I do that? Just so we can find this again. Delete. Okay. I can open up a folder here. I just went to the K2 directory, so K2 Black Pearl. In my case, C program files 86, K2 Black Pearl, and then I search for this assembly workflow, sourcecode.workflow.client. I think taking any of them is fine. It's probably in a few locations here, but I'll take one from bin or host server bin. All right, in here I could see all the methods or classes here, and here I can see. So first we used connection, and we created a connection object, and then from that I'm trying to use get processes. So here it's probably quite small again. You can see the one thing I need here is process rights. So I see that it's just called proc rights, and then it will, let's see if I go back, it should just return to me a list of processes. We don't need to see that type. So what I'll do here, get processes. Of course, by itself, it's not going to work. I need the type of proc rights. So I can do that by going straight into it, into square brackets, and then get into the enum right there. And I'll do all the workflows that I have start rights on. It's kind of annoying we have to do this separately. Oh, let's see. Oh, we need to do one other thing with the connection too. So that is open the connection. So right now we just have a reference to the DLL, but it's not actually connected to the K2 server. So if we go to connection.open, then we can put in the server we need. Localhost works fine in this case while I'm on the server. If you're off the server, obviously that would have to change. Let's clear screen down here. Execute that again. The connection was not open to the server. Let's see. Did I run this line? Or did I just write this line? Okay. Looks like I only ran the line, so that's why. Or wrote the line. Okay, here I could see all my workflows that I could start. I see the process set ID. So this process set ID is actually sometimes needed for calling a workflow via the web service, actually. So just a quick stop at that. If I look at my workflow here, it won't actually show this anywhere, but I could see in the URL there's a /17 at the end. So I also should see that here. Let's see. /17. This is the one I want to call. Okay. Well, that's a proc ID, but I need the proc set ID of 17. Okay, I don't see it. And I think that's only because I have admin rights on it. So let's run this again. Clear screen with admin and close that off. 16, 17, there we go. Annual security training. So this is the workflow I want to run in this example, and now I can see it. The process set ID, the proc ID, this is for every single version, so that's why that will increase. All right, so we have a list of workflows, but now we want to know how we could actually start one. So we can do that by using this connection. And there's a create process instance. Can't get more straightforward. We need the workflow name, and this has to be the full workflow name here as a string. So in my case, it's going to be this annual security training workflow. Let's see if this lets me copy. And we're going to have to set several properties of this, so I'm going to set this to a variable. Proc inst. All right, and I'll run that. Good. Now I have this process instance. Let's just take a look at it below. Clear screen again to move the cursor to the top so it's a little bit more visible. So, proc inst. What do we have? We have attachments and comments, which we pretty much never use. Full name could be interesting. Can make sure that we got the right one. Great. Several other properties here. We could probably use a get members to get that. Folio, it shouldn't be set yet. Not set yet. We could set the folio if needed. But what we want to definitely set is the data fields. So here we have the data fields. It actually gives me the 3 data fields I have here defined. So these are the variables in the workflow. So I'm looking at this workflow right here, the annual security training one. And in my workflow designer, this looks a little bit ugly. Let's see, okay. I could see in my context browser, so let me just move that over so you know how I got there. My VM decided to freeze for a minute. But But as soon as that unfreezes, or you can see already the variables there, these are the three variables that are listed here. So I have department, login name, and just name, which would be display name. So this is being difficult. My workflow designer, I'm going to try closing it and opening again. Yeah, we can leave it. See if it's a little bit nicer to me. Okay. Good, it opens. So I'm just, yeah, I see the three variables here, or the data fields, same thing, just different names, two names for the same thing. And I could actually set these two. So let's do that. So proc instance, data fields, and I just have to put the ones I want. I'll put, let's see, name, and I gotta put this to .value too, just to make sure I'm setting the value because it's set to a whole object, as we can see below. Name, we'll say Mark admin. And we'll do the same thing for both login name, dot value to be Denalix/admin, administrator. I think I have to do. We'll see, it should throw an error. If not, and we'll do department too. Department, and the department will be finance. Let's try running these three. Good. And then we'll just look at the data fields again. All right, good. Now you can see the values set. Let's just take a quick look at the workflow to see what it's actually doing here. So I have these three variables, and the idea behind this is users have to do annual security training. So we're just setting the folio to what we have, the user's name, security training 2024. They could either do basic training or IT training, and this will be based on the department that we sent in. So if it equals IT, they'll go to IT training, or if not, go to basic training. And then the user can just complete the task, and then they get an email afterwards. So very simple. If we go to my instances of management, let me just clear this one out. I was doing some testing of this before. So basically what we've done so far is almost the equivalent of the start new here. So we could set the folio here if we wanted to use text. That's what we're doing. We could set the execution type also. That's an additional parameter when we start the workflow. And we could set these three data fields. So we haven't clicked start yet. In order to do that, we just have to use another command. That's from the connection. PID. So that will be the process instance ID. And then from connection, there's a command to start process instance, which takes in the process instance. So we'll put procinst in there. All right, let's see how this works. Hmm? Call it something else. New proc. We might have started this workflow twice though. Okay. Let's see what's in new proc. We got a process instance ID. I hope so. I'm not sure actually. But more importantly, let's see what we have here. Yes. We do in fact have two processes started. Now let's see, do we have that in process instance actually? We'll just run this. Process instance, oh, and we have the process instance ID. We don't need to set this to something new. It's already there. Great, so we know how to call a workflow from a script, and just to have an example where this would be useful and maybe something you would actually want to do through PowerShell instead of build the example, we're gonna go to Active Directory, find all the users there, and start this workflow for them. So the first thing we have to do is import the Active Directory module. On this server, I have everything, including this. You might have to load this. Normally, good, that imports. Then I'm gonna get my users by doing a query, LDAP query, I guess. I'm not actually sure how this works through here. Users equal get AD users. Oh. Get AD user. We need a filter, and that will be set to star. And properties, just property display name. So I'm going to copy this, but we'll have display name. Well, actually, display name, email address, department, and SAM account name to get their login name. Let's see how this goes. See if we have something wrong here. Oh, it's going to give me an error. Go to users. Hey, and we got a lot of users back. We got George Bush, bunch of service, Fulan, all our friends, Bob Dole. Yeah, I guess I'm into 90s politics, huh? All right, now that we got our users, we just have to go through them in a loop and start the workflow for each. So just putting everything back together. So for each, I used to really be good at PowerShell, but now I use it less and less, and I actually prefer Python and things like that, or anything that's out of the C# world or C world of syntax, just because I've been doing this forever and it's getting kind of old for me. All right, so we'll do another one. PI. Well, we'll have to start a new process instance, so basically we'll take all this here, throw it into this, make it nice. And instead of, this looks good, we're not going to set the folio, we don't need that. We're not doing that anyways. We're going to use U here. And just the properties from below. So U dot, what are we putting that in as? Name. Looks like PowerShell's mad at something. U dot SAM account name. Is it not going to be nice to us? and department. Simple enough. Okay. Let's see. We have a quote here. That's the issue. And we have a quote here. And also here. Okay. Good. And we have to actually start the processes. And we'll write the instance ID. Write output instance ID and that will be proc instance. Was it ID? I hope so. So our one from before, yep. Oh, how convenient. It's there for us. All right. Let's give this a try. Wow. Look at all the process instances. Wow. And we got one for all the different users. Great. We would probably want to take out the service accounts, but my AD on here isn't too well maintained. Just a test machine. But yeah, that's it. That's using a PowerShell to start workflows. We also use this for testing sometimes. This scenario makes a lot of sense. You could use a workflow to start other workflows in a loop here. But for these one-time things or once a year thing, I would have probably preferred to do that with a script if possible. I think it's just a little bit cleaner. You don't have to worry about maintaining that afterwards. Also, we might not be able to get all the properties from AD easily. That could be a whole challenge in itself. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll put a copy of this code online too. And please like, comment, subscribe to support me. Thank you.